Thank you. So the slide that you see there is basically an overview of what we cover, and as you will see, I'm not sure you can read it, but the green things are kind of the deep changes that we're going through today. And you will see that there are changes in ways of knowing, there's changes in way of feeling. I just read a book about young generations in Dutch, and it basically said sharing is a default mentality, as you know, one example of how the value systems are changing. Okay, actually, what I want to talk about today is really the changes that are taking place when there's a new mode of production emerging in our society. And so basically what I'm saying is that there's a new way of producing value, which I call peer production. And it's basically this self-aggregation of people through social relationships. And if you're familiar with Benkel's book, The Wealth of Networks, you will know what I'm talking about. I have a friend, I was just talking about a friend I met I have in Amsterdam called James Burke. He's with a project called Roomware. And this is just a bunch of young people, and when they go to a party, they, you know, basically want to point their mobile phone and share music and pictures during the party, and using a randomizer so that everybody can you know, share in the fun and share in constructing the party. Well, projects like that, there's thousands of projects of young people doing things, inventing things, having social innovation that is happening outside of the boundaries of the corporations. And I can guarantee you that this group of young people will be faster with their innovation than 200 paid engineers in Philips. And this kind of dynamic is something that we are seeing more and more. And so basically we're inventing new ways of doing things. And what I want to focus on really is on the business models that are involved. I talked 5 minutes briefly yesterday, I think, and I said I believe in something called the law of asymmetrical competition. And basically what it says is that when a company, or let's say when a company producing a close proprietary knowledge refuses any participation from its users and does not create any common value, when it is facing a for-benefit institution, like the Mozilla Foundation or the Wikimedia Foundation, which is linked to a community producing common value, like the Wikipedia or the Linux, that eventually there will always be a point where that community will make a better product than the corporation. Now, if you derive from that a second law, which is two for-profit companies competing with each other, one opening up to participation using open licenses and producing some form of common value, it will be more competitive than the company not doing it. Now, if you believe that is true, then what you get is a little bit what you see on this slide, which is basically we are moving to an economy where I think in the United States only 23% of the people are involved in material production, producing material stuff. So where clearly the dominance is on the immaterial field. And if in this immaterial field the place of for benefit production is augmenting, then we can see a good case for, you know, growth of peer production. Now most people think that peer production will be limited to knowledge production, to content, to free software, but basically I think that's a mistake, because everything that needs to be produced physically needs to be designed first, and designing a car is essentially not so different from collaborating on free software. So one of the pages that if you go to p2pfoundation.net, it's called P2P Design. It's basically about open design for physical production. For example, let's talk about the car. Most people know Oscar probably, but I think that's not really going well. But last year in Amsterdam, there was an open source car show at the automobile exhibition. I talked with those people. They said they were very close to negotiating a deal for the production of their design, and that they expected production to take place in 2011. Now, the thing is about peer production is that as a company, you know, I can say that I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years. I was a strategy director in a large telco. You always innovate relatively to be better as the competition. But if you do that as a community, let's say the Firefox community, you are always innovating for absolute quality. You want to make the best possible browser. So instead of a product which you freeze at some point, especially if you have no competition, you have a permanent process of innovation. That means that whenever you have an open design community starting a process, and it can take 5, 10, or maybe 15 years, but there will always be a point where the open source fridge that they produce will be better, more environmental friendly, more modular, more longer lasting than any design that can be produced by a private company.